नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बालभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. A warm and pleasant good morning to one and all. My name is Dr. Jayant Nunia, additional coordinator of this workshop. It is a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome each one to its national workshop on educational research methodology, which is organized by Center for In-Service Teacher Education, National Sanskrit University, Tirupati. I am heartily welcome to our dynamic, motivated, caring, enthusiastic workshop coordinator, Professor R. Chandrasekhar sir. And knowledgeable, resourceful, elegant Professor Dakshinamurthy Sharma. He is the welfare dean of our university. And another additional coordinator, Dr. Uma Narsimha Murthy, Dr. Alok Mandal, Dr. Adana Nayak, and Lakshman Kumar. Dear colleagues and most beloved scholars and students, we learned so many things before 4 days from different resource persons. Now I would like to extend on especially welcome to distinguished, energetic, inspiring, passionate resource person, Dr. R. Yashoda Madam. She traveled so far to be with us today. She is working as a professor, Department of Education and HRD, Dravidian University, Kuppam. She completed PhD in Education and MSc in Mathematics. She has 30 years teaching experience. She previously worked with different institutions like Sri Venkateswara University, Sri Padmavati University. She is specialist pedagogy of mathematics, educational research, ICT, yoga education, education in human value and arts education. Madam completed 3 major and minor projects under MHRD. She published more than 10 books and 50 articles published in reputed journals. She guided more than 8 PhD scholars ongoing for 50 plus M.Ed and MPhil students guided, madam. She actively participated so many seminars, workshop and training program in national, international level as a resource person. Put your hands together. Let's welcome Professor Yashoda Madam to take a session. I hope this session will be great and successful. Thank you, madam. Please take a session. And also came our dynamic Professor Venkat Rao sir. He is the director of In-Service Teacher Education of our university. Please, sir.
Offering my humble pronouns at divine lotus feet. A very good morning to one and all. Most respected learned professors, Professor Venkat Rao-ji, Professor Coordinator of this program, Professor Chandrasekhar Rao-ji, Professor Dakshinamurthy, faculty from Department of Education and from other parts of the country, research scholars and dear students. A very good morning to one and all, and I thank the organizer of the program for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with you these 2 days. on different topics relating to research methodology. Past 4 days, you might have learnt about different topics on research methodology, and this session we'll be discussing on the types of research. First of all, why should we need to have different types of research? Is it that necessary to have different types? Why not we depend on a single type of research for all our problems in our investigation? And the answer is very simple. In your B.Ed program, all of you might have studied the methods of teaching, right? Depending on the nature of the subject or depending on the topic, the content that we need to deal with the students, and the objectives of teaching that particular content, and also the abilities of the students, usually we adopt suitable methods of teaching. And the same analogy can be applied here also. So basing on the objectives of research, the mode of investigation, and the application of the findings, we have to adopt the suitable types of research. This session, one is qualitative research and the other one is quantitative research. And basing on the objectives of research, again we have 4 categories of methods of research. One is descriptive research,
historical research,
exploratory and explanatory researches. And we are now focusing on the types of research basing on the application of the findings. See, for some findings in our investigations, we will be able to generalize. Though we conduct our research on a limited sample of subjects, we will be able to generalize to the total population, whole universe. Whereas, in some cases, we cannot generalize our results. Why? Why? Because in some cases we will be applying systematic methodology where the results can be generalized to the whole population. In some cases, the researcher is in a hurry to find out immediate solution to the problem at present, on the spot. In such situations, it is very difficult to adopt systematic procedures, methodologies. So, usually, in most of the cases, teachers, supervisors, inspectors and administrators will be applying action research. You have studied in your B.Ed program, also in your M.Ed program. So the results of which cannot be? Can you generalize the results of action research? No. So now, basing on the application of the results, there are 3 types of research. One is fundamental research, applied research, action research. Very good. Then, what is fundamental research? This is also called basic research or pure research. The name itself clearly says pure research means in very systematic, controlled conditions the investigator conducts the research. In controlled conditions. So one best example is laboratory experiments. Right? So here, the objective of the researcher, the aim of the research is to produce, to develop new knowledge and to add it to the existing storehouse of knowledge, not finding solution to a problem. That is what is called pure research. Right? In your net, you'll be getting cases like this, net examinations, set examinations. So what is the very purpose of pure research? Producing new knowledge applying very scientific methodology. And what is the purpose? To add it to the existing knowledge. Already abundant knowledge is available in the form of theories and principles, right? Educational theories and principles. But still, we do research to add. So here the purpose is knowledge for the sake of knowledge, not for application, not for finding immediate solution, right? This is what is called different points of view. Please go to the next slide. So according to application perspective, these are the three types of research. Next slide. So, what are the basic principles of fundamental research? It is basically designed basing on applying the scientific knowledge, and it does not necessarily apply the results, or it does not try to find any solution to the problem. Primarily, it is concerned with formulation of theories or principles. Can you give me one example where in the field of education, a fundamental research is applied and a theory has been developed? Example in the field of education for fundamental research where a theory has been developed. It is very difficult to conduct pure research in the field of education, right? Under controlled conditions we do pure research, and here in the field of education the subjects are not rats or rabbits or dogs or pigeons. Here it is human beings, students. So it is very difficult to control them as we control in a laboratory the other living beings, right? So in most of the cases, educational research applies for applied research, right? So the aim of fundamental research is to obtain and use the empirical data to formulate, expand and evaluate theory. So fundamental research depends on the empirical data. What is empirical data?
Scientific.
Yes. A concrete data. Based on that, you will be able to formulate a theory, expand it and even evaluate it. Basically, this has drawn its pattern and spirit from physical sciences, and that has represented a rigorous, structured type of analysis. Therefore, it is not possible to apply fundamental research in the field of education. Pure research involves developing and testing theories and hypotheses. What is a hypothesis? It is a shrewd guess, an intelligent guess with respect to your research problem, right? So, it is developing and testing theories and hypotheses that are intellectually challenging. So, just like that, you cannot take a problem and apply pure research, right? It should be intellectually challenging, but may or may not have practical application, either at present or in the future. According to Bailey, He defines pure research as which involves developing and testing theories and hypotheses that are intellectually challenging to the researcher but may or may not have practical application at present time or in the future. Such work often involves the testing of hypotheses containing very abstract and specialized concepts. This is how Bailey defines pure research. So, what is the goal of fundamental research now? Development of a theory by the discovery of broad generalizations and principles. How do you arrive at a theory? What is the basis to arrive at a theory? Basing on your generalizations and principles. What is the source for arriving at generalizations and principles? Empirical data. Right? So, fundamental research is concerned with development, examination, verification and refinement of it can be research methods, procedures, techniques and tools that form the body of research methodology. So, the very approach of basic research is knowledge for application purpose, for finding solution purpose.
The practical.
No, knowledge for knowledge sake. But though we cannot apply the results of fundamental research in finding solutions, but we can use these results as the base of applied research. Can you give me an example for in our education where we apply the results of pure research in our field? Say for example, you have studied in psychology, they have developed stimulus response theory. Psychologists develop stimulus response theory. Our educationists applied that stimulus response theory to teaching learning process and they have developed programmed instruction technique, right? So, stimulus response theory is the output of fundamental research or basic research. Programmed instruction is the output of applied research, right? Where stimulus response theory has been applied in the field of education. Let me give you another example. An experimenter has conducted research on rats and he applied positive and negative reinforcements to check its effectiveness or its performance in a maze, right? And he could find out whether the positive reinforcers could help or negative reinforcers could help in its performance. As the positive reinforcer, he used food, and as a negative reinforcer, he used electric shock. Right? He could arrive at a theory basing on that experiment. Can you apply the same food and electric shock to our students in the classroom as positive and negative reinforcers? Certainly not. In that place, if a teacher applies both positive and reinforcers, say for example, appreciation as the positive reinforcer, punishment as the negative reinforcer, and if you try to find out the impact of these two on the performance of the student, maybe in his motivation for learning, then we can say that this is an example for applied research where the theory has been adopted from, this principle has been adopted from fundamental research. So, what is applied research now? Applied research is directed towards the solution of an immediate, specific, practical problem. Okay, when do we go for applied research? Whenever the researcher is interested to find out a solution, that should be a practical problem, an immediate problem to find an immediate solution. Then we go for applied research. Then coming to the characteristics of applied research, because fundamental research follows all the scientific procedures in its research, applied research also follows all the characteristics of pure research. Because only thing is, there in pure research we arrive at a theory. In fundamental applied research, we apply that theory in a systematic way, adopting all the characteristics of pure research to arrive at a solution to a problem, practical problem, right? So, what is the purpose of applied research? Improving a product or a process, testing theoretical concepts in actual problem situations. Say, for example, we have well-equipped computer laboratory, ICT laboratory. Human resources are lacking. We want to apply the technology to the fullest capacity, right? So what do? We develop this software and help the students to go for individualized learning, self-learning with the help of the technology, right? So what do we do here? What do we do here? In this case, we are trying to improve the product and the process, the output, with the help of applied research. See, educational research attempts to develop generalizations about teaching learning processes, instructional material, whatever we do in our education, whatever the research we do in our education is aimed at improving teaching learning processes, improving instructional materials, improving the behavior of the children, isn't it? Therefore, most of the educational research is applied. Fundamental research in behavioral sciences may be concerned with the development and testing of the theories of behavior, right? Theories of behavior, whereas educational research is concerned with the development and testing of theories of what? How students and teachers behave in educational setting. There they arrive at a behavioral theory. Here we arrive at how do the teachers and students behave in an educational setting, in a classroom, right? Then coming to action research. The name itself clearly says that demands immediate action. It doesn't wait for application in some other place, on some other situation, right? Action, immediate action. Say for example, there is a classroom teacher, a teacher of mathematics, who identifies a student is not able to cope up with other students, on par with other students in the classroom. And what is the problem of the teacher now? How to help the students to cope up with all the students in the classroom in that particular subject, right? And he has to identify why the student is not able to cope up. Suppose he could identify that the student is having some dyscalculia, a mathematics learning difficulty. Now, what do you think that now it is a problem of the teacher and to research and find a solution to help the student? Yes, he has to find a solution somehow or other to help the student. What he'll do? Basing on the diagnosing the abilities and disabilities of the students, immediate learning difficulties of the students, he'll try to design accessible, suitable strategies to that particular student, not to the whole classroom. To that particular student, he'll design the accessible, suitable strategies to learn mathematics. And he'll develop the strategies, he'll apply the strategies, he'll test and verify the efficiency or effectiveness of these strategies in helping the student to learn mathematics better. This is what is called action research. Identify a problem, immediately design a solution, a strategy, apply that strategy, help the student to come out of that problem, means find a solution to that problem. That is what is called applied action research. So, action research is a type of applied or decision-oriented research, but with stipulation that the researcher is the same person as the practitioner, as defined by Lehman and Mehrens. This is how they define action research. In fundamental research and in applied research, the researcher is not the same person. Right? The researcher is some expert. But in action research, the researcher and the classroom teacher both are, the practitioner and the researcher are same. Why? Because only the teacher knows exactly what is the problem of the student. Therefore, he can design the appropriate suitable strategies to help the student to come out of that problem. So according to Stephen and Corey, action research is a process for studying problems by practitioners scientifically to take decision for improving their correct practices. Usually, teachers, school administration, inspectors will be applying action research for improving their conditions or situations. Research concerned with school problems carried on by school personnel to improve school practices is action research as defined by Sarah Blackwell. So according to Sarah Blackwell, what is action research? Research concerned with school problems. Carried by whom? School personnel. For what? To improve the school practices. This is what is called action research. Then what are the characteristics of action research? Do you think that the characteristics of applied research and action research will be same? See, a process for studying actual problems of education. Actual problems of education. It is a scientific procedure for finding out a practical solution of current problem. Here also we apply scientific procedure in quotes, limitations of the teacher's knowledge. Okay? A practitioner, a classroom practitioner or a teacher cannot adopt research methodology, scientific procedures, right? As a research expert too, right? But still, within the conditions, classroom situation, he will adopt all the systematic procedures. So practitioner only can study his or her problem. Other expert, research expert cannot study. Therefore, they won't go for action research. The focus is to improve and modify the current practices. Action research focuses on current practices only to improve. So the individual and group problems are studied. It does not contribute to the fund of theoretical knowledge as we do in fundamental research. Fundamental research adds new knowledge to the existing body of knowledge. Action research is not of that contribution. So, where do we use action research in education? If we look at some examples, can you quote me a few examples? Where can we go for action research in the field of education? Few examples.
About B.Ed students,
Yes.
about the school students.
For see, teaching skills is a big problem to the B.Ed students. Now, micro-teaching is the output of research only, right? Because no student can acquire competence in all the skills at a time. Micro-teaching has been designed and developed by the educationists to help student teachers to acquire competence in these teaching skills one by one, right? So, according to Buckingham, he is the person who has first mentioned this concept in his book? What is the book? Research for Teachers. The concept of action research has been used since 1926. It has been being used 1926. Who is the person? It is Buckingham. Where he mentioned it? In his book, Research for Teachers. And later on, Stephen Covey also used this concept for solving problems of education for the first. He is the person who used action research to finding solutions to the educational problems. To quote few of the cases, where can we go for action research? Improving and modifying classroom teaching learning strategies, teaching techniques, teaching and learning material like programmed material, computer assisted instruction, right? Innovations in the field of technology, developing interests, attitudes and values of the students towards their studies. NEP 2020 also emphasized on attitudinal development, a value system among the students. So here, now it is the, in fact, it is the crisis in the field of education, particularly school education. There is so much of arrogance, violence among the school children. So it is the problem of every teacher, classroom teacher, to help students to develop positive attitude, favorable attitude, and to develop universal values like, what are the universal values? Truth, non-violence, right, righteousness, all these things. Every student is different in his knowledge, attitudes and skills. So teachers should definitely search for the appropriate ways and means of helping these students to develop their personality. So therefore, action research helps a lot in this regard. Dealing the classroom and school problems relating to the discipline and code of conduct is also a big problem at every level of education. Dealing with problems of poor attendance. Say for example, we have dropouts in our classroom at primary level. Usually we find dropouts at primary level. The reasons may be many. Physical reasons, biological reasons, health issues, economic problems, psychological problems, social problems, family problems, many reasons. Then how to help the student? First of all, the teacher should know the reasons for his dropping out, what are all the causes for his dropping out, and then he has to plan the suitable ways and means of helping the student to be regular to the, come back to the school again, and for his regularity to the school, right? So all these are the cases where a teacher can go for action research, right? Objectives of action research. I think I don't need to repeat because we have studied what is action research. In your B.Ed program you have studied what is action research, what are its objectives, what are its functions, what are its advantages. You have studied in your previous classes. To quote a few, to improve the working conditions of school plant, to improve the overall working condition of the school plant, to develop scientific attitude among students, teachers and even administrators, and to bring excellence in school workers, to develop ability and understanding among administrators, for what? To improve and modify the school conditions for better learning. These are all the objectives of action research. So the focus of action research is immediate application, not on the development of theory. Very, very important. The findings of this action research to be evaluated In terms of local applicability, you cannot compare the results for verification of the results. The output of the action research, you cannot compare with an international standard school. You have to verify in terms of local applicability, right? So action research is also an applied research. When? Because if it is conducted by the teachers, supervisors and school administrators themselves for dealing with classroom problems and improve classroom practices. If all these personnel in a school setting or in any educational institution, if they apply educational principles, then definitely action research is a, we can call it as an applied research also. So now we have learnt about the types of research. What are the three broad categories on which we can classify the types of research? No, my question. What are the three broad categories on which we can classify the types, classification of types of research? Number one, very good. Mode of investigation. Number two, objectives of research. Number three, application of findings. Whether the application, the findings can be generalized or can be confined to only that particular condition. Okay. So, according to objectives of research, what are the different types of research? Methods. Methods of research, what are those?
Quantitative and qualitative.
That is, qualitative and quantitative is based on the mode of investigation. Because sometimes, see, in this previous case I have mentioned dropouts. In one investigation, the researcher is interested to find out the percentage of dropouts. He just go to the institution, supply a research tool, number of dropouts, first class number of dropouts, second class number of dropouts, third class number of dropouts, only numerical data, enough. Anybody can, even the office staff can give, basing on the records, he can simply give you the data. And you will be able to give the total number of percentage of dropouts is so and so, and from the total, the boys dropout percentage so and so, girls dropout percentage so and so, you can mention. In the first class, in the fifth class, the dropout percentage so and so. Very simple data collection, right? Mode of investigation is very, very simple.
Somehow the data can get wrong. Given to the series.
Yes. In another case, if the researcher is interested to find out the causes of dropping out, is it that simple? Can you go simply give a research tool and find out the causes for dropping out? There may be number of causes why the student is dropped out, right? So, you should go and interact with the teachers. You should go and talk to the peer group. You should go to the parents, right? So you should go to the location where the student is living, that particular child is living. You should interview many people, maybe structured or unstructured interview. You should go for case studies, right? See, the very in-depth study you need to go for. So therefore, mode of investigation decides whether you should go for qualitative research or quantitative. If it is just the percentage of dropouts, you can call it as quantitative research. If it is finding the causes for dropping out, we should go for qualitative research, right? Similarly, basing on the objectives of research, what are those? Basing on the objectives of research, what are the methods of research or types of research?
Three types of them.
What are those?
Fundamental actions and applied.
Because, let me repeat you, the findings of action research cannot be generalized. Because you are finding a solution to the student in your class there itself to a current immediate problem. So, a result obtained for that student cannot be generalized to the whole population studying maybe 10th standard or intermediate or a degree, right? You are not able to apply the results here, findings, generalize findings here. Whereas in applied research, you can generalize. If you conduct research, see in sampling techniques, you might have studied about sampling techniques, no? Sampling techniques. If you want to study the attitudes of school teachers towards NEP 2020, new education. If you want to find out the attitude of teachers towards NEP 2020, new education policy, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, will you go to each and every teacher working in the state of Andhra Pradesh? Certainly not. We go for representative sample. Means, we select 15% or 20% of teachers and we collect data from them and we try to generalize the findings to the whole population teachers working in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Right? So, basing on the application of findings, here we are able to generalize the findings in the case of applied research and we cannot generalize the findings in the case of action research. So, basing on the findings, application of findings, the methods of research or types of research or what are those? Basing on the application of the findings of research, what are the classification of types of research? Very good. Fundamental research, applied research. The name itself says, right? This can be applied. This is only action oriented, right? So basing on the objectives of research, again you have different methods. What are those? Methods of research? Descriptive research, exploratory research, explanatory research. All these are basing on the objectives of research, right? Are you simply describing what is just the existing phenomenon, or are you trying to correlate, find the correlation, relationship between the variables? You go for correlation research, right? So, this is about the types of research, the classification of research basing on different points of view, right? But we have focused mainly in this session on only the classification or types of research basing on one category. What is that? Application perspective. Okay. So under an application perspective, we have studied about three types of research. One is fundamental research, applied research, action. What is the very purpose of fundamental research? Fundamental research aims at developing a new theory for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of knowledge only, not for the sake of application or to find any solutions to the problems, right? Applies very systematic scientific procedures, rigid, rigorous procedures, as this has been originated in the field of physical sciences, right? And because most of our research in the field of education is applied in nature, we hardly find any scope to go for fundamental research. Then, what is applied research? What is its purpose? Applying the theories and principles to find immediate solutions to the practical problems, present practical problems. All the characteristics of a fundamental research are applied here in the methodology to arrive at the results. Therefore, the results of applied research can be, because we apply all the characteristics of fundamental research to the applied research, we apply scientific procedures in its methodology while selecting the sample, for the development of the tool, for a collection of data. In all the cases, we can generalize the results of applied research, right? Whereas this is not possible in the case of action research, because here we try to find the solution to the current problem, immediate problem. And because we need an immediate problem to the immediate solution to the immediate problem, it is not that easy to the researcher to find instant solutions by applying scientific procedures. Therefore, the practitioners are the classroom teachers in this case, right? Though they are classroom teachers, they are not well trained on research methodology, but still they, within their limitations, they apply scientific procedures to arrive at accessible solutions to their problems. So this is about the types of research basing on application perspective. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, you are welcome, please. Any doubts? Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
एकां लघु समस्यां स्वीकृत्य action research अपि कर्तुं शक्यते भवद्भिः.
You said as the fundamental research is the research for knowledge.
Yes.
But can it be directly why every research should have some cost more than knowledge? So can we say it is an applied research? Only the fundamentals applied is only called as applied research, because every research what we do, it should have an application. Otherwise,
yeah, very very good point you raised. Though we develop a theory through fundamental research, while conducting research, while aiming research, fundamental research, there is no idea of applying the results in the mind of the investigator. But the results of fundamental research can be the basis for applied research. So, whenever you are interested to find a solution in your field of education, in some other field, maybe in psychology, in social work, or some other field, you can apply the results of fundamental research for your problem.
Usually in education researchers, when we start the research, we should write what is the application for it, how to use it, the research. So just for the knowledge, only for the knowledge purpose, can we take it as?
See, whatever research we conduct in the field of education, as you rightly mentioned, yes, we do say under implications, educational implications,
Yes.
It helps the educational policy makers, the administrators, the teachers, the parents to adopt suitable changes and all. Yes, you are giving suggestions basing on your research findings to all these personnel to improve the existing conditions, to bring changes, modifications, so that they can improve the existing situation. Okay, but just for knowledge sake, I don't think you can conduct any research in the field of education. Whatever piece of research you conduct in the field of education is immediately for application purposes. Right?
In the action research, as you told, there is no global applicability.
You cannot.
But what is the validity for that? Usually we say validation.
That's what I said at the end. I said you cannot know for validating your results, findings of your action research, you should consider the local conditions, not the universal conditions.
So what is the validity? How can we say that?
You can compare.
Is it purposeful?
Yeah, definitely. You can compare your student with the students in your class, other students in your class,
So
but
if
you
there
cannot
is a
compare.
result, then it is valid.
Yeah.
That's it.
If the student is performing better because of applying your strategies, teaching strategies, latest designed teaching strategies, if this particular student is performing better compared to the other students in that particular classroom, you can say that yes, my teaching strategies are working good. They are effective in helping this particular student because you have designed this strategy only for that particular student, maybe for that particular class. But you cannot compare these results to find its validity with the students or a student studying in an international school.
Say population. You cannot say
It's for the only.
You cannot
Globally.
generalize it.
You cannot generalize and you cannot check with an international student or international school because all your focus, design and proceed.
Yeah, I have doubt in the validation only. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you. Any other queries? Yes,
If
please.
we derive a new theory, that theory will come under which type of research?
Pardon?
You speak aloud, Uchasware.
If we derive a new theory
Yes.
through our research, it
Yes.
comes under which type of research?
I don't need to tell you because you are clearly telling that you are arriving at a new theory.
Theory, fundamental.
Then tell me.
Fundamental.
Certainly, fundamental research. Other queries? Yes, please.
Uttai.
Ma'am, why action research called cycling process, but other than fundamental and applied research not there? Why?
Why it is called cycling?
Yes, ma'am.
See, I have given you a small example in dyscalculic student in your classroom, right? Dyscalculic student. I have given you an example where a teacher can apply action research. Do you remember? A student with learning difficulty, mathematics learning difficulty is called dyscalculic student. Suppose as a teacher of mathematics, if you identify a dyscalculic student in your class, what do you do? On the spot, would you try to improve him and take his performance to the topmost in the class? Sure? Impossible.
No.
Not possible. What you will do? First of all, you will identify what are all his learning difficulties. Basically, he is a student with maths difficulties. What are all his mathematics learning difficulties? List out. Select basic difficulties first. Work out on that. Design a strategy. Apply it on the student. Research. Experiment it. Verify it. Yep. Yes, if it is really effective in helping the student, that experiment is okay. It is good. Go to the next difficulty level. What is the next difficulty that the student is facing? Right? So this is a cyclic process. One day, if you see, educational problems are continuous. By conducting research today, action research today on a particular student or a particular class, you cannot say, yes, my research has been completed. I don't have anything to research. No. As education is a continuous process, learning is a continuous process, research is also a continuous process because the problems are continuous. Because every individual is different. Every day the student will be having one or other problem in learning, in adjustment, in attitudes, in behaviors. Hence, the teacher should always be engaged in research one by one. Therefore, it is a cyclic process, continuous process. Thank you.
Now, in this, in the application perspective, you told 3 types of researchers. Why the other researchers will not come under application perspective? Like the other researchers, whatever we say, other types of researchers, why it won't comes under application? Because every research should be applied now.
Very good point.
Again, you are going to the first.
I forgot to give you that point, but you have reminded me. Very good point, in fact. There is no clear-cut bifurcations among these types, right? All are interrelated. I think if I am right, you are asking if descriptive research is it not applied research? Why not it is not an applied research? Correlation research, is it not an applied research? Why not?
Then why only these 3?
That's what you should. That's why I took all the precautions to give you to start from the beginning. See, though there are different methods of research, basing on see why you are doing research. Suppose there is a question to you, why you are doing this research? Sir, I want to find out, is there any relationship between students' creativity and students' achievement? There is a student in our classroom and he says that he will be studying for 12 hours a day. I just would like to know whether is there any relationship between for his number of studies of study, number of hours of study, and for his performance, maybe in any subject or overall performance, academic performance. I just would like to know, sir, there is a purpose why you are doing. There is a purpose. Then how do you do it? So my question is different. Why are you doing is different. You have given me what is the objective, why you are doing this. But now my question is, how are you going to do it? Means what method you are going to adopt, methodology that you are going to adopt it. So, basing on the objective, there is one classification. Basing on the methodology, mode of research, there is one classification. Basing on, okay, you have conducted research, whether that research can be applied to find solutions, maybe at lower level or at higher level, action research, applied research. For that also you have another classification. Any other queries? Okay. I thank all of you for a very lively, active participation. Really, I am very happy. You are so active in clarifying your doubts. You are not clarifying your doubts. You are giving me an opportunity to go deep dive into the subject. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
अखंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Good morning, one and all present here. Today is the 5th day of a 2-week national workshop on educational research methodology. Till now, we hear about type of research from Yashoda ma'am. Many thanks to you, ma'am, for guiding us with your experience and knowledge. On behalf of our education department, on behalf of our university, I am thanking you for your valuable guidance, ma'am. Thank you so much. And also, thank you teachers for arranging such a wonderful workshop for us.
Hello.
I am thanking everyone present here. Thank you so much.